An airhead.
Jeez, Mr. Takes a swing at everybody. This is not her fault. She's a very nice girl.
I'm a Finn, so I was born in Finland, lived here all my life. At the same time, I've been pretty much raised with American popular culture, comic books, TV, movies, books, and it is a huge part of the inspiration, but it's always felt like, you know, this kind of a unique perspective of using that inspiration, but being outside and looking in, and that gives us a unique perspective.
Have you been drinking?
No! Look, Barry, I'm missing a week, and someone's got Alice, and everything's just...
Do you understand what it sounds like when you say stuff like that? Don't get me wrong, it's a good story, could be a bestseller. But when you start confusing fiction with reality, you're buying yourself a ticket to the funny farm.
Wait here.
Easy there, boy. I'm almost done.
Hey, Rusty, right? You rent cabins.
Oh, Mr. Wake. I'd shake your hand, but mine are kind of full here. Actually, I'm sorry about this. Would you mind grabbing the registration form from the desk? It's just across from Bucktooth Charlie.
Okay, sure. What happened?
Crazy poachers. Max here got his foot caught in a trap. They're illegal to use here. Hell, you're not supposed to hunt within the park at all. But that doesn't stop some lowlifes.
Seriously, Al, you can't just go and meet a kidnapper. Those situations always end up in disaster. You gotta talk to the cops.
She's my wife, and it's my call. Can we talk about this later?
No. This whole thing... Listen, you hit your head. I mean, geez, Al, come on. You gotta understand how crazy all this sounds. If you're trying to pull a joke on me, freak me out, it's working. Ha ha, let's have a laugh on Barry. Well, you had me going there real funny, Al. You can quit it now.
I think this is the form you wanted.
And here are the keys. Okay, you're all set, Mr. Wake. Glad to have you staying here.
Thanks. Can you tell me how to get to Lover's Peak?
Oh, sure. It's at the end of the nature trail. Just follow the paths, you'll get to it eventually. It's an easy walk. Nice spot, too.
Look, Al, you're asking me to believe that you shot a dude who went poof into thin air, a guy who was bulletproof until you pointed a flashlight at him. You hear that from people who end up spending time in padded rooms, strapped to their beds, wearing white shirts with too long tangled up sleeves, and eating a healthy diet of pills. Al, you make cruel jokes about people who believe that kind of stuff. You're the skeptic. You gave me an hour-long lecture on homeopathy last month. What was it? If there's no proof, it's pure bullshit. Period.
Guess the laugh's on me then.
Al, come on! I mean, okay. Okay, maybe something weird happened to you, okay?
Well, thanks for the heartfelt vote of confidence.
All I'm saying is you gotta throw me a That's just crazy talk, Al. Al? Al? We should go to the sheriff or call the FBI.
Damn it, Barry, they'll kill her! This is not a goddamn debate, Barry. I'm going to Lover's Peak. He said to come alone.
Okay then. I understand. You're my best friend, and I'm worried that you're not right in the head. Tell me what to do to help, and I'll do it.
You stay here, and if I'm not back by morning, call the cavalry.
Just be careful with the natives, Al. These yokels are dangerous. Everybody hates a tourist, or it'll be Deliverance all over again.
Bless you.
Oh, this place is trying to kill me. I'll bet there's
Obviously, being a Finn and having lived here all my life, the culture is very much part of me, and you know, can't help but to bring in elements of it into my writing. And I think that that can be seen in the stories of Remedy games, even starting from the original Max Payne. I mean, there was this huge winter storm that was part of the setting of that game, and it's in other games as well.
I didn't realize we were back in the 3rd grade here.
I'll be with you in spirit every step of the way, Al. Walk through the door now.
Barry had never gotten along with Alice, but he knew Alan loved her with an almost frightening intensity. And now something had happened to Alice. And here was Al armed with a gun and saying things people got put in padded cells for. It was as if his friend had experienced a massive psychotic episode and was now totally disconnected from her. Barry had the keys to the car he rented. It wasn't a long walk to the visitor center, and it wouldn't be any use to me in the forest. I knew I should have gone to the cops. This wasn't the smartest thing I'd ever done, but I was still angry with Barry for trying to talk me out of it. These people had called me right in the sheriff's station. The cops wouldn't scare them, and they had Alice.
Welcome back to the show, folks. As promised, our very own Dr. Nelson has just parked his rear end in the studio. Doc, what's your Deerfest plan like?
My plan? You make it sound a lot more organized than I ever seem to manage. No plan, really. Just taking the atmosphere. I'm getting a little too rickety to do much more than that, you know.
Oh, tell me about it. No sack race for us older gentlemen, huh?
Yes, exactly, Pat. But I'm going to check out the parade, of course. And I'll be one of the pie contest judges, too.
Well, that takes a different kind of constitution.
Oh, yeah. It's my kind of exercise.
Now, Doc, seriously, you're in pretty good shape, though. You're the outdoors type. I know for a fact you're an avid fisherman.
That's right. Matter of fact, just caught a heck of a largemouth bass early this morning.
But you're not taking part in the fishing contest?
No, not this year. See, Pat, I'm just not that competitive anymore. Now I just like to take my time and enjoy the peace of it. It's no fun if I need to worry about what I'm catching, you know?
Well, considering your track record, the participants are probably pretty happy you feel that way.
Well, Pat, that's kind of you to say.
crime and punishment. The cancer and cure of civilization. But some crimes are impossible to punish, especially in Night Springs. Tonight's episode, The Man in the Mirror.
He's inside, Agent. He's a weird one.
So, you're confessing to killing that guy, huh? Why?
Had it coming?
Yeah, but why would you do that? I mean, you're a nice guy. Normal. Took a kid to a soccer game. So how come at the game, you pick a guy and, quoting from the arresting officer's report here, assault the victim's head area repeatedly with the weapon of choice being a pair of bare fists? Wow, that sentence really flows, huh? Maybe you're not the literary type. Okay, so you mess him up. But why? Who was that guy? We couldn't ID him. Why would a guy like you do him like that?
I didn't like his face?
Well, you must have hated it, because you really went to town there. I mean, there's no way to tell what he looked like. No ID on him either.
That must be difficult.
But then we ran the fingerprints. Got a match. Your prints. Identical.
Huh, how about that?
Your son said you were wearing a white shirt when you took him to the game. The white shirt is on the dead guy.
It's plenty red now.
You won't get away with this.
Do you really think that's in any way relevant to me? I had plenty of time to talk to my boy before the cops arrived, you know? He won't stop screaming, am I right? You think he's ever gonna be okay? I left my mark. Believe me.
You bastard.
What? You gonna shoot me? What's the point? I'm going to prison. You got me.
I don't understand.
Any of this. And you know, don't worry. You'll see me again, Agent. Maybe in the mirror.
Rose knew that Rusty was in love with her, and she liked him too. She liked him a lot. He taught her to dance, and life had certainly taught her the value of a man who was gentle. He treated her well, made her... The air in the visitor center was heavy with an awful smell, as if some rotten drowned thing had crawled up from its grave. Rusty kept coughing blood. My eyes were drawn to the twisted shape of his broken leg. The attack had been vicious. The vision left me weak. This was no head injury.
Rusty, hang on! I'm coming!
Please, help me! Anybody? Help me! Help me!
Hello?
Mr. Wake?
Oh, hell.
It happened just the way it was on that page. I found. Came true. It knew. So dark. It'll come back for me. You must... The lights. In the office. I have the key.
Okay, Rusty. Hang on. I'll be right back.
Whatever did this couldn't be far. Rusty had found a page from the manuscript. It would help me understand what had happened.
Finnish culture, Finnish
The only way to
landscape,
make sure that Rusty was
the
safe
nature,
was to get the power
I
running
feel
and
has
the lights
been
back on. The gate
one
to
way or
Lover's
the
Peak
other a
was
part of
locked.
all of Remedy game stories. In Alan Wake, obviously, we have light and dark in a strong role, and if we think about the seasons in Finland and the kind of the schizophrenic nature of
At the last instant, I changed direction and threw myself down. The axe splintered the trunk of a tree. I stumbled into the pool of bright light. My lungs burned. I was too exhausted to move. I tensed as I waited for the killing blow, but it never came. I raised my
winters being very dark and summers being all sunshine way into the night. There is an echo of that in the themes of light and dark. The Pacific Northwest landscape
and destroyed the circuit breaker.
but
was no
and
way to get the
in
lights back
in
on.
Finland, the nature is much more modern. But beyond that, I feel that there are a lot of similarities in the landscape of it, and also Finland has a lot of small towns with larger than life, quirky.
The visitor center was sturdy, but the impact turned the front of the building into splinters. Rusty was thrown across the lobby like a rag doll and hit the far wall hard. It didn't hurt until he tried to move and saw his leg bend the wrong way, felt the broken rib stabbing him on the inside. Rusty howled in pain and fear, suddenly afraid to die alone.
Characters and you know, having spent all of my childhood summers in the countryside and in small town settings, it certainly is something that resonates and feels like a part of what should be in this story.
I just need hunting licenses.
Something had torn a mammoth-sized hole in the wall.
don't feed the animals.
Obey!
The park ranger's instructions.
At all times. Fishing!
No!
Hurt yourself, Bart. Poison! Never! Bears and wolves! Never approach any other... Closer than...
25 yards.
Pets must be leashed. To remove any... from the park. This is even simple berries!
Still on the Finnish culture, I mentioned the horror movie screenplay I wrote, Undertow, and Anderson Brothers, Tor and Odin being a part of that already. Now, that story is set in Finland, and yet we have Tor and Odin as Swedish-speaking Finns in there. Now, we never go into details in Alan Wake on their background, but they just might be Swedes, or they could actually be Finnish Swedes.
In that last instant of consciousness, Rusty thought about Rose. He was older than she was. Rose was barely out of her teens, but she made him feel young and forget what a train wreck his long-dead marriage had been. He still wore the ring. He'd been waiting. Lover's Peak was at the far end of the nature trail. Nobody in Bright Falls seemed to know where Al was, but Rose, the waitress at the diner, had seen him. From what Barry could tell, Al pretty much fell off the face of the earth when he left the diner. Rose was just the kind of fan. turned the corner, afraid of what the flashlight's beam might reveal. Suddenly, a roughly painted symbol of a torch glowed in the light. Behind it, hidden by a rock, sat a battered metal trunk. It was here for a reason, packed with supplies, batteries, flares, ammo, things you need to make it through. Agent Nightingale didn't want to be in Bright Falls. These little communities revolted him, and he didn't like the trees or the coffee. He now knew that impossible horrors lurked behind the storefronts and smiles.
We gotta get moving. More of them coming. That flashlight's kid stuff. The flares will keep the bastards away.
You can see them too?
Hell, of course I see them. Come on, we gotta move.
Why?
Because that's the way the story goes.
Yeah, but...
Let's move!
I lost my gun back there.
Oh, I've got a gun. Just keep that light steady on him.
It took a moment, but then
So,
I recognized him.
I feel that Finnish culture will be, in one way or the other, present in all the stories I'll be writing. And in fact, in Control, if we go beyond Alan Wake, we have Ahti, the strange janitor character who definitely has a Finnish background, and even a Finnish tango as part of it.
Lover's Peak. Right up these stairs, Wake. Use the flares from the emergency box to hold them off while I get these boards off.
Give me the gun.
Yeah, no can do, Wake.
Are you kidding? Give me the gun!
No time for back talk. Pull them off, damn it! A little longer. Scare them off. Get some light on those bastards. That'll keep them off us. Cozy and safe. Better get ready. They'll be on us soon. This is it, Wake. Last stand. There's more flares here. Get ready. We fight them as long as they keep coming.
Give me the goddamn gun! They're coming!
That's not how this goes. Get with the program, Wake. Die already, die!
Let's cut the act now. Where's my wife?
I knew you were gonna say that. I read it all before. You're a hell of a writer. Congratulations. You're gonna bring about something glorious and terrible once we get you some proper editorial control.
What the hell are you talking about? Where's Alice?
I want the entire manuscript, or she's gonna suffer bad.
You touch her up.
You're gonna give me the manuscript, or you'll be sorry.
No! Come back here! I swear I'll kill you if you hurt Alice! Do you hear me? Come back here!
He had Alice, and he wanted the manuscript because he thought it held some magical power. But I had no manuscript to give him. I had to get back to Barry and figure out my next move.
So staying with Ahti and...
On more than one occasion, Alice had tried to explain to me how it felt to be afraid of the dark. To her, darkness wasn't simply the absence of light, but something more tangible than that. It was something you could touch and feel. Worse than that, it was something with a mind of its own, something malicious and malign. For her, things changed when they were wrapped in darkness. They turned into something else, something foreign. And nothing was safe or innocent anymore. I'd never really understood what she meant.
This is a huge spoiler. In Control's AWE DLC, if you do all the Ahti missions, you'll get a postcard from him. And there he is, at home and happy on the porch of his sauna. And the title places him in the Washington state. So it is this big loop, and it all comes back to Alan Wake.
Rusty had warned me about these times. It hurt like hell. I was stuck. Sarah didn't care about the legal threats Wake's agent had made. She let Wake go without argument, because there was something about him she couldn't quite put her. The night had been one desperate situation after another. I was exhausted, and my body felt as though it had been chewed up and spat out. The flashlight was heavy in my hand, and each pull of the trigger sent a painful shock up my arm. But I was finally out of the woods, and things were looking... I had heard the plane fall. It made no sense. It was clear that it had just fallen here, but it was very old and obviously hadn't flown in decades. Looking at it sent a shiver down my spine.
Dig your own foolish insanity, honey.
The logging site was a mess. The modular office had been pushed off the cliff. Deputy Thornton climbed up from the wreckage excited, breathing hard from the exertion. Nobody there. It's weird. Don't you think that's weird? Bored, Mulligan let out a mighty snort. Hell, it's always weird, Thornton. Just a question of sorting out what kind of weird it is this time around. When Barry saw the darkness attack the visitor center, it made him a believer. The men Al said he'd shot, they hadn't been just locals on crank. Somehow the world had changed, like the channel had been switched without warning. You think you're watching a sitcom, and you're really watching a horror show. When the birds started attacking the cabin, Barry wasn't surprised, just terrified. shadows stirred and the wind picked up as I ran through the forest. I felt the dark presence turning its gaze toward me. Then the moonlight was blotted out by dark shadows that raced violently across the ground, moving too swiftly to be natural. Darkness...
Logging is a hazardous occupation.
Barry?
Ow! The porch is covered with birds. They've got old Hitchcock on me.
Stay out of sight. I'm on my way. Don't open the door.
What am I, crazy?
Stay hidden. I'll be there soon. Just make sure you keep the lights on. I still had to reach Barry at the cabin, but at least I was out of the woods.
The FBI agent's command froze me in place. I considered surrender. It was all falling apart anyway. I could give in, let someone else deal with it, but it felt all wrong. Call it instinct, his posture, the way he held the gun. He was no friend. Shots ringing in my ears, I leaped for the hole in the fence and stumbled into the... A story is not a machine that does what you tell it. A story is a beast with a life of its own. You can create it, shape it, but as the story grows, it starts wanting things of its own. Change one thing and you set off a chain reaction of events that spreads through the whole thing. The characters have to be true to themselves. The events need to follow a logic that fits the story. A single flaw and the magic is gone. The story dies. Alice dies.
You can yourself.
There was no misunderstanding. Cauldron Lake was where Alice and I had stayed, but there was no cabin and no island. I was missing a week. The flare gun was probably the best weapon I could imagine against the dark things I was facing. It was the kidnapper.
You son of a bitch! Where's my wife?
Enough horseplay, Wake. You deliver the manuscript, and you can have your woman back. Simple as that.
I don't... Listen. I'm gonna need time to finish it. I still need to write the ending. I need a week.
Not done?
I need a week.
2 days. The old Bright Falls coal mine is nearby. You can find it easy, city boy. The main building, there at noon. You bring the manuscript, you'll get your wife. Not, well, get me?
Yes, I get you.
Barry had talked about birds over the phone.
Hey, Al. I'm sorry for thinking you were having a psychotic episode, man.
I sent Barry to the town to ask around about a man fitting the kidnapper's description. He'd go through the archives of the local paper. Perhaps he could learn something. Anything about the island and the cabin that had disappeared. The man wanted a manuscript. I had to try to write him one to get Alice back. For me, the supernatural had always been nothing but a metaphor for the human psyche, a tool to use in writing fiction. Now, it was happening for real, and I couldn't put a single word on paper.
Barry Wheeler speaking.
This is Rose.
Rose?
I found Mr. Wake's pages.
Oh, you sweet, brilliant girl.
Could you and Mr. Wake come get them? I live in the trailer park outside the town.
We'll be there in less than an hour.
Bye now.
See you soon.
Have a great day. Hope you come back soon. Welcome to the Oh Dear Diner.
Good girl.
Previously on Alan Wake, Alice has been kidnapped.
Alan, please help me.
Alice?
You'll do exactly what I say if you ever want to see your wife again.
I can't tell anyone except my agent Barry.
Damn it, Barry, they'll kill her!
You're my best friend, and I'm worried that you're not right in the head.
The ransom is a manuscript I supposedly wrote that's coming true before my eyes.
It happened just the way it was on that page. So dark.
I have found... How the hell did she get her hands on the manuscript anyway?
I don't know. She's resourceful. I told you you were too hard on her. Listen, I found out all sorts of interesting stuff while I was digging around.
Yeah.
Mr. Wake, it's Sheriff Breaker. We have an FBI agent here, Agent Nightingale.
FBI?
He's anxious to see you. You'd better come to the station.
Okay, I'll be right over, Sheriff.
Let's make this quick, huh?
Help you folks? Name's Randolph. I'm the manager.
We're looking for Rose. Works as a waitress down at the diner?
Rose, sure. Nice girl. Who wants to know?
I'm Alan Wake.
The writer, huh? I heard on the radio you were visiting. Well, I'll show you her trailer. That Rose, she's a nice girl. Always pays her rent on time.
As I was saying, Al, I found all sorts of weird stuff from the local newspaper's archives. This place is crazy. Disappearances, mysterious deaths, urban legends come true, and, get this, most of this stuff takes place around Cauldron Lake.
Well, you ain't wrong, mister. The Indians thought the lake was a doorway to the underworld. I'm the God-fearing type myself. I don't hold with that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, there was an island there owned by a guy called Thomas Zink. Now, some of the articles I found about him make him out to be a famous writer, but I ran a bunch
As a writer, when I'm working on a story, I do like a bit of a guiding structure for it. I mean, there are obviously very different story structures out there. You know, your basic 3-act structure, hero's journey, and all. And I kind of use some of these as a reminder to myself that whenever I kind of run into a problem in the story, then I glance back at these structures if there is any help to be offered.
Just follow me. It's not far. Yeah, how about that? It was there in the morning, as if it had fallen from the sky. But it would take a tornado to lift something like that. We're damn lucky it didn't crush any of the trailers. Listen, I got things to do. This place don't run itself.
Gets better. A local girl, Barbara Jagger, drowned in Cauldron Lake just a week ago.
Sure, Jagger's a local spook store. The Scratchin' Hag. Comes for you in the dark. Childish stuff like that.
Anyway, Al, I'm just getting to the best part. All of the articles about this stuff were written by Cynthia Weaver. I asked around, and she's that crazy bag lady you met.
What, the lamp lady? She can be a little loopy, but she's not homeless.
Yeah, anyway, she knew both Jagger and Zane before they both died, and she had some kind of a breakdown.
Welcome Welcome to... Oh dear, Mr. Wake. I'm so glad you're here.
Rose, you have my manuscript?
Oh. Oh, yes. Yes. Please, come in.
Hey, this is really good. Rose.
Yes.
My manuscript. I really need it.
I understand. I know what you need. A muse to inspire you.
Oh, for Barry? She doesn't have anything.
Yeah, hey, Al? Al, what's... Oh...
Barry! What? What?
It's coming for you, hiding in my barber's skin. I'm too weak to stop it. You must turn the lights on.
I promised I'd come visit you and your lovely wife. You must finish what you started. I insist.
You must turn the lights on. Turn the light on.
Back to work, boy.
I felt nauseous, hungover. Only anger kept me going.
I can't tell reality from dream anymore, but it seems I have an imaginary editor to help me. She's an old woman in a funeral dress. I call her Barbara Jagger. She's very strict. I'm writing faster and faster. My manuscript is being heavily revised. The edits are getting very aggressive, and each day there's less of me and more of her. I hate it, but I know she's right. She promises me I can save Alice this way. She knows more of this than I do, about the complex incantation I'm attempting.
Rose took a day from me. I had less than 12 hours left to meet the kidnapper. All I could do was get Barry into the car, work something out once I got on the road.
It's turning into a horror story. I'm getting close. I can feel it.
Welcome to the Oh Dear Diner. What can I get you today? Coffee?
I couldn't work up much hate for Rose. Something had used her to get to me and left its mark.
First refill is free. Milk and sugar on the counter there. Would you like to hear today's specials? Thank you.
My gun and flashlight
Still talking about the structure for the story. For Alan Wake, more than any...
Mr. Randolph liked Rose. That little smile she had. How she was still sweet when life had tried so hard to make her bitter. It wasn't any of his business what she did in her trailer. But those strangers, the writer and his smart-ass sidekick, looked like trouble. And they'd been in there for hours, way past her normal bedtime. He reached for the phone and called the sheriff's station.
Like as this guiding structure, I had 5 stages of grief in my mind. And that comes to the idea of this being a psychological thriller. And a lot of this is about how our hero, Alan Wake, sees the situation. I mean, we have these crazy supernatural things starting to happen. And so we start from denial, and he can't really accept it. And then we go through these steps of anger and bargaining and ultimately accepting and embracing this madness. And because it's psychological, we have this open question. Is this supernatural? And is he going mad and embracing the madness?
Is it just me? Well, perhaps it is. But I hope I can make the night a little bit easier to get through. Caller, you're on KBF FM.
Hey, hi, it's Walt Snyder.
What's on your mind, Walt?
Well, I am the way you are, but, well, I can't sleep either, you know? I just been staring out the window here, trying to make sense of it all, but
You sound like a man with a problem, Walt.
I had argument with Danny. You know Danny, and, then I get in trouble with the law, and, I'm just, well...
I heard something like that, Walt.
Yeah, well, he's, Danny's my best friend, and, he let me, bail today, and now I'm just alone here at the window, waiting. Man, and there's something in the air tonight, man.
I was just outside looking up at the sky above our broadcast tower thinking the same thing. What are you waiting for, Walt?
I don't know. Something's gonna happen. I think I better go.
Well, Walt, maybe...
No, thanks, Pat.
Well, good luck to you, Walt. Hang in there. Let's take a little break, folks. This weather's really something else, huh?
How can I be sure you'll walk away? Why do you look
Oh, you're gonna get it now. God knows what you've done to that poor girl.
This is Agent Nightingale, FBI! Get him up, Hemingway! You're under arrest! You move a muscle, I'll unload right in your goddamn face! Stay right where you are, Slane!
I'm standing right here, you goddamn maniac!
I hated to leave Barry behind, but there was no way I'd miss my appointment with the kidnapper.
Mr. Wake, come on!
Okay, men. Keep your eyes peeled. He's gonna try to make it through here.
Oh, damn. For decades, the darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's skin slept fitfully in the dark place that was its home and prison. It was hungry and in pain. It dreamed of its nights of... Rose didn't know how the strange old lady got in her trailer, and she looked wrong somehow. The woman showed her teeth in an approximation of a smile and traced a finger down Rose's cheek. "Pretty girl," she said. Rose felt as if she was falling asleep, but her knees didn't buckle. The crone spoke in a whisper.
Search the area.
This horror was everywhere I went, circling me. The cops didn't stand a chance. They were after a writer, not a monster.
Sheriff Baker, this is Agent Nightingale. I've lost contact with most of the men you assigned to me. It's Wake's doing.
Wait, are you seriously telling me that geek writer just took out my deputies? Are you kidding? I mean, have you seen this guy? He wears a tweed jacket. Over.
He's the guy we're chasing. If it's not him, who then? Bigfoot? Over.
I don't know yet, but I'm not in the habit of jumping to conclusions. That tends to come back and bite you in the ass. Out.
You on the ground. Hold it right there. There's nowhere to run. Freeze!
This is James. Mulligan, Thornton, come in. Over.
Thornton here. Gates, we got both Wheeler and Rose in custody. They didn't put up a fight or anything.
Why, there we... Hey, what are you... Come on! Sit down and give me that. Jane, Mulligan here. Over. Go ahead, Mulligan. Over. We got Wheeler and Rose here. Wheeler's drunk or hopped up on something. Speaking of which, that Fed had a pretty distinctive whiff of Otis Scotch about him, you know what I mean. Over. I don't have anything on that, Deputy Mulligan. Over. Well, whatever. Anyway, Rose is just being plain weird here. You better get Doc in to take a look at both. Over. Gotcha. You better get them here quickly. The Fed's gonna want to interview Wheeler. Over. Oh, yeah, I bet he does. Looks like they have a lot in common. Mulligan out.
I could see the lights of the radio station in the distance. I imagined that the broadcast tower in the distance was part of the local radio station. Maine seemed like a decent guy. Perhaps he could give me directions to the coal mine. Unnatural shadows clung to the gate. The darkness that was after me was trying to stop me. I wouldn't get through without light. There was no power to the searchlight. The old generator conked out. I'd have to see if I could fix it and try again. It took me a moment to recognize.
So Alan Wake is a psychological thriller, and we are on this journey into Alan Wake's mind. And if we think about psycho thrillers, you know, there is always that question on, is this true? Is this really happening? Or is this part of the madness? And if it's madness, is nothing true? But obviously we are on this journey together with Wake, and he becomes to believe in it. And so must we, because otherwise the things that we are fighting for are not really there.
KBFFM with Pat Maine.
It's Milt Peabody, Pat.
What's on your mind, Milt?
Well, I live near the trailer park, Pat, and there's a big ruckus going on over there.
Well, that's just up the road from me, too. What's going on, do you know?
I don't know, but there's a bunch of police cars there, lots of sirens, a helicopter buzzing around, and I think I heard some gunshots.
Gunshots?
Yes, sir, like from a pistol. So can you find out what's going on? Because it's just next door and they're popping off guns there.
They're still shooting?
No, it was maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. It sounds serious, Pat. I'm telling you, it don't sound like no party.
Well, I'm certainly going to give the station a call, Milt.
Okay.
You'll hear it here as soon as I hear from them.
Okay, thanks.
Touched by the dark presence, Rose was lost in a dreamland where everything was drawn. I hope Maine
the
could
big
lend me a
theme,
car to get to the coal
obviously,
mine.
in this thriller is fiction coming true. And a lot of effort from our part writing this was to think about what does that mean and what are the limits. Obviously, if we would have given Alan Wake godlike powers to just change reality on a whim, there would not have been much stakes in this.
Well, thank you very much for that compassionate viewpoint, Lorna. Oh, here's a little surprise. The famous writer Alan Wake just walked in, folks. I'm going to see if I can talk him into an interview.
Come on in, Mr. Wake. Oh, I'm so glad you could find the time to do this, Mr. Wake.
Nowhere to run now, Dan Brown. You back away from me. Don't hurt.
Whoa. Everyone calm down. Put the gun down. We're all friends here, right?
Cool your jets, Nightingale. We got him. What the hell's the matter with you? There's a civilian in there.
I'll get you yet, even if it kills me. You hear me? You hear me, H.P. Lovecraft?
I had fallen off so many
changing
cliffs,
reality,
it was ridiculous.
with
That's
his
what you get for
writing,
naming a book The Sudden Stop.
has to be a
It was
struggle.
probably good I hadn't had the chance to
it's
tell Maine
hard,
where I was going.
for him.
I'd have to lose the cops
As
and find my own way to
writing
the
a
mine.
good story is hard for us.
Nightingale stared through the broken studio window into the dark woods. He turned around, started to walk out, but Maine grabbed his arm. "Young man, you almost shot me. You don't shoot off rounds at people like that. What's the matter with you?" Nightingale.
So there is this metaphor going on in this. And essentially what he can do is he can take existing elements and nudge them and tweak them. And in a similar way, I feel that story needs to feel true for it to be a good story.
I'll get you yet, even if it kills me. You hear me? You hear me, H.P. Lovecraft?
I had fallen off so many cliffs it was ridiculous. That's what you get for naming a book The Sudden Stop. It was probably good I hadn't had the chance to tell Maine where I was going. I'd have to lose the cops and find my own way to the mine.
So changing reality with his writing has to be a struggle. It's hard for him.
Nightingale stared.
As writing a good story is hard for us. So there is this metaphor going on in this. And essentially what he can do is he can take existing elements and nudge them and tweak them. And in a similar way, I feel that story needs to feel true for it to be a good story.
Danny had stepped out, but what stumbled back in was something else. Something alien. A monster. Walter tried to kill it, first with his fists, then a chair. It wouldn't die. Instead, it kept... There was no sensible reason for the power company work lights to be here. It was almost as if they'd been left for someone like me to use. The bulldozer's engine roared to life. Mud and... Sarah trusted her gut, and her gut said Agent Nightingale was an asshole. He felt wrong, and it wasn't just the smell of stale booze. It was in the way he flashed his badge, pulled rank, the look in his eyes when he wanted answers. Where was Alan Wake? What was
Hello?
The most stubborn man I've ever met.
Alice? Alice?
Alan. Alan. I'm so afraid. Keeps me in the dark. Please help me. I look at you, Alan, and it's not you. Something else. Looking out from behind your eyes.
Alice, I'm here.
I'm so alone here. It's all gonna go to hell. You need to be careful. Cooperate.
The connection had been terrible, but that wasn't the only thing that hadn't been right with the call. She sounded wrong somehow, but she had called me. The pipe wrenched itself loose from the bridge's steel framework, wrapped in darkness. I could see a railway bridge up ahead, and a warehouse of some sort on the opposite shore. I hoped I could find
in the game, through these in-game television inserts, we learn about Alan Wake's writing process. How he was trapped in the study of Bertlek cabin and how he wrote the manuscript. And we learn that he becomes aware of the Dark Presence's plan and how he starts to hide in keys for his success into the story. I mean, hiding his truth and his escape, his ultimate victory into the story. And there is an interesting metaphor there about writing process in general.
Was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path. I slammed the door shut right in his smug face. He pleaded for me to open the door. True to form, the asshole. As a teenager, just starting to get interested in writing, Stephen King had been a source of inspiration to me. I thought about all the inanimate objects that had come to life in his books. No one is safe in a good horror story. Certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer. No one is safe in a good horror story. Certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer.
Alan Wake hiding keys for his escape and his success into the manuscript story is a metaphor for the writer who is writing story for entertainment with many needs coming in. We are hiding art into our stories, and this is kind of a nugget of wisdom from my trauma. My teacher.
Take the facts of our existence for granted, unaware that they are merely a thin veneer of desperate self-delusion covering a vast cosmos of madness and horror. All too often, the stars are right. In Night Springs. Tonight's episode, a family occasion. Journalist Alan
The darkness surged towards me, sucking everything loose. I had never been this glad to see the sunrise. I had a couple of hours to get to the coal mine. The coal mine wasn't far now. Today, I would meet the kidnapper, and he would give me Alice. I wouldn't give him any other choice. A drowning man will clutch at a straw. Even during daytime, I was being stalked. The bridge must have collapsed only moments after I'd crossed it.
So I've been asked a few times, like, how much is Alan Wake, Sam Lake as a writer? And my answer is not really at all. But there is a certain kind of a truth to the idea that there are, of course, we always draw from our own experience. And I think that, surprisingly, a few of the Remedy games in some way are metaphors and commentaries on video game development.
This is Pat Main, and you're listening to KBF-FM. Folks, I want to apologize for kind of abandoning you to that looping music track last night, but I was detained. You see, I encountered a big-shot G-man with an itchy trigger finger who could use a lesson in manners and a boot in the ass. Not necessarily in that order, either. Now, folks, I know I'm not being very informative here, and I apologize for that. I really should just keep quiet, but I'm just so peeved right now, because some people just shouldn't be carrying badges. I'm just glad that our Sheriff Breaker was there to straighten things out. And if someone I met last night is listening, let me just say, I'm sorry if my mouth got you in trouble. I'm pretty sure you're not the bad guy here. Godspeed, son. I hope you know what you're doing. Now, on a lighter note, I'll be talking to Dr. Nelson all morning. But first, a little music.
you